Hi everyone, I'm Edith Wallach. Welcome to Courageous Parenting, Transforming Challenges into Opportunities. So I am a transformational leadership coach and mother of three beautiful children. Two of them are adults, and I am Amazon bestselling author. And here we welcome Debbie. Welcome, Debbie.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here. Super excited.
Amazing to have you here. And our vision here is to empower parents and children by building connection with love.
Hey, hello everyone. I am Filza Jabeen, mother of three beautiful children, teen and parent transformational leadership coach. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you. It's so good to see you again.
Yes, same here. So let me introduce you all to Debbie. Debbie Godfrey is a seasoned parent educator and consultant with 30 plus years of experience empowering families. As the founder of Positive Parenting, she delivers engaging workshop and consultations on a range of topics, from effective communication to building resilience. Debbie is passionate about supporting military families and leveraging her expertise to help them thrive. She's a skilled communicator, curriculum developer, and program coordinator with a strong commitment to community outreach. And today, Debbie is going to talk about positive parenting, a kind and firm approach to parenting that works. So, Debbie, tell us more about the topic and the positive parenting, which is like my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, yes, over 30 years for sure. I mean, I took my first parenting class when my kids were 1, 2, and 6, and it just changed my whole life. I went from being miserable and yelling at them all the time to actually enjoying parenting and doing pretty decent most of the time. And so after about a year of using the tools that I learned, I thought, oh, it would be great to share this with parents. And so I got trained to teach the curriculum that I've been teaching forever and many others. I have several I've taken and taught many different curriculums, and I think most of us just can't get enough. Just give me more tools. Show me what to do and I'll do it. And that's kind of been how it's been for me. And I think, yeah, this kind and firm idea of being both loving and consistent, um, kind and firm, just that that idea of really nurturing kids. And I love what you said about the vision here. Something about connecting or communicating with kids is in there, and it's just so important that we make that connection before we try to discipline. You know, I mean, any human having somebody that they're not really feeling connected with, telling them what to do is just not going to go over well. And so even though we're their parents and we see each other every day, it's still really important to, make that connection and that not just attempt, but to really integrate being loving while we're disciplining. And it shifts us, it shifts our kids, it creates better thinking kids because their brain stays more intact. And so this idea is super precious to me that, I continue to teach ideas and tools that balance those things, kindness and firmness.
Wow. Wow. And why do you think positive parenting and the traditional parenting is different from each other? What are the specific things which we can notice?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of words bantied around. You can call it authoritative parenting, you can call it courageous parenting, empathetic parenting. There's all kinds of buzzwords and everything. And I think to me, the biggest distinction is the idea that we don't need to punish children in order for them to learn. They need to be disciplined. And that, I think, is the big distinction between the various parenting programs. Is it is it discipline or is it punitive? Is it disciplinarian or is it punitive? Discipline means to teach or to guide. So it encompasses a wide, vast range of ways that we can communicate and interact with our kids. Punishment is a specific subset of discipline. And punishment, just that word, I mean, what does that mean to you? When you hear punishment, what does that mean?
Being
Hurt.
angry.
Right, hurt, angry, and it's like, I'll never forget. I called a radio show one time that they were talking about spanking. This is a long time ago, probably 25 years ago, and they were talking about spanking. And this 11-year-old girl calls up, and she's like, "Well, I think the punishment should fit the crime." And I called up, and I'm like, "You are a child. Children are not criminals. You don't have to pay for mistakes you make or pay for your behavior. It's just you're growing up and you're learning and you're exploring and you're growing, and kids are going to make mistakes. And it's like they don't have to pay to learn, they don't have to suffer to learn. Children's modality of learning is like play and fun and repetition. And if we can make things more like that, they learn so much better and more effectively and without like um, long-lasting trauma, that the severe parenting can bring. I mean, severe punishment can bring. So that to me, more than whether you call it positive parenting or empathetic parenting or whatever parenting, it's those are the distinctions that I make. Is this a parenting paradigm where the relationship is based on love and connection and that there is a relationship, or is it this hierarchy is I'm the boss of you and you do what I say and children should be seen or not heard? That to me is the old version of parenting. It just isn't effective anymore in most of our democratic societies.
Thank you so much for that. So, why is it important to balance kindness and firmness in parenting?
Well, what do you think? I mean, what do you think? What would motivate parents to want to do that? Well, let's look at it. Do you guys want to play a game with me?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Why
Let's
not?
let's look at being kind and firm. So, which one of you wants to play, or should I alternate back and forth
I'll
between
go.
you?
Yeah.
You'll go. Okay. So Edith, pretend like you're my little girl and you just fell off of your bicycle and your knee's bleeding and you don't want me to wash it off. And so first I'll be a parent who's too firm, and let's just look at why be a firm parent or not be a firm parent. And then we'll do it again and we'll look at too kind, and then we'll look at a balance of kindness and firmness. Does that work for
Okay.
you?
So I'm just riding the bicycle
So you're
and
riding your
fall off
bike, you fall off
and
and go,
hurt my
ow,
knee.
ow, ow.
Ow, I'm hurting. Oh my
Oh,
God.
come on. It's not that bad. That's hardly anything. Go back out and play,
It
Edith. Come on.
hurts.
It's not
My
that bad. Shh, shh, shh.
knee.
Not so much.
My
Don't cry.
God, this
Out.
is so
Quit crying. Quit
painful.
crying. Get out, out, out.
Ah,
Go play. Go play.
no.
Stop. Okay. How are you feeling?
Not seen, not heard.
Ignored. Yeah, not
And
her.
what does it mean about you that I responded this way?
I don't matter.
I don't matter. I'm not cared for.
Good. Yeah.
I'm not good. Like there's so many ways a child would misinterpret this. So this too firm parent, we call the parent as drill sergeant. So it's just like my way or the highway, just do it, being super efficient and just laying down the law, and all of that is the extreme firm side of
Mm.
parenting. And what are kids that are parented like that consistently going to grow up to be like? Like, what are you going to grow up to be like in terms of your emotions or when you're hurt or asking for help or any of those things?
So I would not be asking for support. I
Yeah.
would always search for, for the answers, like, am I good enough? And
Mm.
am I valuable? Nobody, and take on a victim mode, and that, nobody listens to me, nobody hears me.
Yeah, and I think this is even more damaging to our neurodivergent children because they're so sensitive. They're
Yeah,
so reactive
yeah.
that, in general, really strict, dis um, firm and punitive parenting is really harsh and really hard on those kids. They just cannot it's too hard for them to assimilate anything when they're being punished. They're just it
Mm,
really it dysregulates them even more so than they're already dysregulated, so it's just going to backfire and it's not going to help kids. All right, so let's look at if I'm a parent who's too kind and how what kind of effect that might have on you. So
mhm.
same thing, you fell down and skinned your knee and it's all bloody and you don't want me to wash it off.
Mom, it hurt. My knee hurts.
Oh no, you poor thing. I can't believe you hurt yourself. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Here, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to carry you back to the house. Oh, and I'll fix it up for you and get you some ice cream. How's that?
Yeah, I'm not used to that. It's too much.
Okay, so how does that feel as the kid? You're not used to it, for
Maybe
one.
no, no. I feel belittled, maybe.
Oh, okay. Patronized. Good. And
Nice,
I
yeah.
mean, that a healthy ego will feel patronized. Now, a lot of kids, we train them to love this. So
Mm,
they'll be sitting there going, oh, yeah, give me some ice cream and pick me up
yeah.
and carry me everywhere. And but what's the downfall of too much kindness as a parent in that regard?
They won't be able to get resilient.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, they don't get strong.
they're
They don't
going
get
to get tough skin, as we call.
right. And so, what are they going to learn to be like if I repeatedly, what are you going to learn to be like if I repeatedly respond like this about,
Perhaps, perhaps
hmm?
leaning on others
Okay, too much. So,
too
yes.
much. Yeah.
And what about when you get hurt
I
or
will
have big
ask for
emotions?
attention.
Right. You're going to be seeking attention and
Yeah.
you might try to maybe even, a lot of kids will become accident prone. Accident proneness
Mm,
can be a way of seeking attention because
wow.
they get attention when they're getting
Oh,
hurt. It's like,
yeah.
oh, okay, I want to get some drama here.
Oh,
Let's just
God.
bonk my head and mom will come running. Yay.
Yeah.
So
So,
again, it's
so my
debilitating.
understanding is mixing both of them in the same time. Little bit of toughness, little bit of kindness.
Right. And well, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. So yeah, so the too much kindness also isn't effective and will cause kids to walk all over us and not respect the boundaries. And they need and ultimately in a in a ex, in a really extreme way, these kids don't feel loved. I mean, often the too firm parenting that's too firm, the kids feel loved and connected, but scared. But in this one, the connection's not even there. And so a lot of times they don't even feel loved. So yes, too much kindness without any firmness is not good either. So let's do both. Fall down and hurt your knee.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay, I'm in my role already.
Yes, you are.
Riding the bicycle, falling over. I hurt my knee, Mom, help.
Ooh, ouch. That looks like it really hurts,
It
Edith.
does. It does. It's really bad.
Yeah, can you hop over to this rock over here and sit down and let's have a look at it?
Yeah, yeah. Let me hop over.
Okay, good job. Let me see. Ooh, I can see there's some like dirt in there and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Edith, what have you seen me do when I fall and hurt my knee like this?
Mm, you just wash it off.
Okay, wash it off. Good. And
Hmm.
what about so it doesn't get infected? What do you think?
Yeah, we put some cream, antibiotic, and then we put some plaster on.
Excellent. How about if I go get the things and help you do that and fix it up?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mommy.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, how did that feel different, Edith?
Oh, wow. I feel empowered. I answer the questions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so when we bring kindness and firmness,
I
the
love that.
child feels lovable and capable, which are the essential elements of self-esteem, is for a
And you
child to
make
feel
me
both.
think, instead of doing it for me, you made me think, what do you do in that case? I love
Yeah,
that.
and I hope all of you saw that or watching this. When I said, what have you seen me do when I hurt myself? You saw her do this I thing, like she was going like this, like she was thinking, she was up in her brain thinking. That is so critical that we ask leading questions that causes children to go into their brain and start thinking. So much of the day we're spent, go do this, do that, go get the Band-Aid, wash it off, go outside, go inside. All this, we're telling them what to do all the time. They don't even listen to us. And so if we can stop them in their tracks by asking a leading question of, do you know where you're supposed to be? What are you supposed to be doing right now? Do you know what's the next thing you're going to do? Like, soon as you notice that you're going to tell your kid to do something, soon as you notice you're going to say, go brush your teeth. How can you reframe that in a question? What part of your evening routine do you need to accomplish right now? And they
Mm,
have to go in their brain and think about it, right?
I
If you
know.
say go brush your teeth, that's just gonna go right over their head. They're not even gonna hear it. And if they do hear it, they'll either ignore it or make fun of you or delay or they're just, oh, I love kids.
Yeah. And probably brushing teeth is one of the tasks that parents get to keep on reminding their children, oh, did you do this? Did you like every
Right. So that, yeah. So yeah, if you can come up with a way, either asking a leading question or using a signal or just some way to use less words, the words are what they're tuning out of. So we need to find ways to communicate with them that's effective, that causes
Mm.
them to comply.
I'm so happy I asked the question.
Very good.
Yeah, and asking leading questions, open-ended questions will definitely help our neurodivergent kids to strengthen their, frontal lobe, and the executive functioning gets stronger and stronger because they are in that thinking brain, and that's making them feel empowered, and they are not dependent on us. Okay, so yeah, so tell us something like what are the long-term benefits you think is for positive parenting? Are children not getting dependent on us? Because most of the time, what I see parents asking, they will be expecting the same from the world, the way we are behaving with them. And it's no way possible for the world to behave the same as we are doing. So, what do you think the long-term benefit, and how can we balance it in the outside world as well?
Well, I think what you're talking about is helping kids learn to be self-sufficient. Is that kind of what you're like over time, like learning to
Yeah,
take,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, because we do have a job. We're parent, we have to provide and protect them and, take care of them. And I mean, it's not that they have to do everything on their own, but how can we help them feel capable while they're learning to do things? And so there's definitely an age appropriate expectation needed as we go along. So I was just teaching a class the other day, and one of the dads was talking about keeping their room clean, and it was a 4-year-old. And I was like, well, at 4, you really can't expect them to independently keep their entire room clean all by themselves. They still need help, coaching, assistance, like support, whatever. Like that having an expectation of a 4-year-old to keep a room clean is too high. And so that I think is really important as we go along is parenting them and letting them have a lot of power and a lot of experimentation and exploring in their world in an age appropriate way, in an age appropriate and safe manner. Now, what's happened in our culture is we've gotten too safety oriented, unfortunately. I think the world has become so scary for adults that they're not letting their children grow. And I think this is really apparent when we are looking at all the screen issues that parents have, the cell phone things and the what do you call it when they go online?
Games and
The game, well, not just the games. I think,
dolls.
well, yeah, I think for boys it's games and porn
Social
and
media.
things. The social media for girls is just devastated them. And the research is finally in. It's funny because I've been teaching since before cell phones, right? So so I've seen the whole influx of, like my kids, they didn't, cell phones didn't come into play until they were teens. And so I didn't have to do, engage with it when they were little. And now, you know, 1, 2, 3-year-olds are exposed to screens. And so we're fine. And for the last 20 years, I'm like, I know there's going to be data one of these days because this is like an addiction. This is as bad as feeding your kids drugs, like putting them in front of a screen, the way it's affecting their brain. And the research is here. So it is very bad on children. More and more guidelines are coming out of being screen free, definitely in the first 6 years. And and it's interesting. I've been listening to the guy that wrote The Anxious Generation. I don't know if you've been exposed to that yet. It's great because he's really coming. He's trying to collectively get schools and places to be phones, screen free, because the schools do so much better. Kids do so much better in schools when there's no phones, and And it's just amazing. It's amazing because it's gonna turn around again. We're gonna go back to not having phones in schools, and kids are gonna learn and engage with each other. But the critical thing is relationships, and that's what's that piece that's missing is these kids going from a friend, like kids have always run around together, right? You go out and you play with your friends. And people talk now about how the neighborhoods have no kids running around in them. They're
Yeah.
all home on their screens. And so that's where I think we need to start getting more courageous as parents and start letting our kids walk to the nearest park and walk to school if it's available, walk to the store. Like look around your neighborhood and look and ask yourself, what's one place I can encourage my child to walk to that they can do on their own because they'll feel so good about it or with their friends. Start trying to really stretch and instead of constrict because I think that's where we're going to get back on track again is letting kids be more self-sufficient earlier instead of waiting. It was so curious because I was on a webinar with this guy who read this book and he asked the audience, for those of you born before, I think it was before Gen Z, wait, anybody born before like the 90s, like how young were you allowed to go somewhere by yourself? And it was 6 years old, like 5, 6, 7 years old kids back then could walk to the park or walk to a friend's house or walk to school. And then when they ask kids that were raised in the last 10 or 20 years, it was like 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. Like some kids aren't allowed to go anywhere
Yeah.
without their parents. And that's a disservice to how kids learn and how they can become self-sufficient over time. And so, yes, our job, Philza, is to work ourselves out of a job, but it's over the whole lifetime of our kids. So we're going to start young, start simple. We're still very important, but we want to work ourselves out of this job by making our kids responsible for things that they can be responsible for.
And
Have you? Yeah.
one more question, very simple one, which comes up in front of parents all the time. If I'm going to say too many yeses to them, how will I discipline them? Will they be learning in a longer run? How can we discipline our children in a positive way, in a positive parenting way? That's what my question is. Like
Well,
exactly putting the discipline out there, rather directly saying no to them. How can we discipline them in a way that they are receiving it from us?
well, I don't think it's whether we say yes or no exactly. It's how we do it. So, I mean, saying no is I mean, I can be a positive parent and say, no, you can't have that, or no, you can't do that. I don't know if I'm misunderstanding the question, but um, I think that we need to be able to create guidelines and structures, and then as our kids grow, do those more with them. So sit down and say, okay, we've got this conflict or this thing. You want to start going out and have a curfew now. So let's talk about what time do you come in? And, if it's a school night or if it's a weekend, and that we have two-way conversations instead of just flat out, can I do this? Yes or no? That's not really engaging the child enough. So can I do this? Well, let's talk about it. So what is it that you want to do? And let them describe, whatever it is. And keep asking those questions. So what will happen if you go down this route? And what will happen if you go that way? And, what do you need from me? How can I support you? How can I be helpful to you? And really encouraging your child to think through all the options of whatever it is, that we're speaking to.
Okay, so it's not like positive parenting is not all about saying yes. We can say no as well, right? This is
Absolutely. And I think that's why positive parenting gets a bad rap because people think that means letting them do what they want. And I'm like, no, actually, it takes more work to do positive parenting, more thought, more effort, more how am I going to make this work and more discussions with our kids and more relationship building with our children. I mean, all of that is an essential piece of positive parenting. And if people miss that part, then you would mistakenly think that positive parenting is permissive parenting, and it's not.
Yeah, most of the time we parents think that positive parenting is all about saying yes, and we cannot put no in our children's life, which is going to be really dangerous. How will we discipline them?
Yeah, no,
So
you definitely need to say no. I think of the positive and positive parenting as my mindset as a parent. So it's my um not even attitude exactly. It's my presence. I
Way
have a
of being.
positive presence when I'm interfacing with my children. So it's not the crazy mom and it's not the stressed out mom. Although if I'm stressed out, I can be a stressed out parent. And I mean, if I'm legitimately stressed out, I can be authentically that and not lie or fake it around my kids, but not put that on them.
Mm,
That as a positive stressed out parent, I would take ownership for my emotions and like, apologies, guys, I'm unraveled right now and I can't think straight. And so we'll table this and let me have a few minutes to collect myself, and then we'll come back and look at how we can solve this conflict we're having.
in leadership wording, it's the way of being positive, being creative, being
Yes.
powerful. So we get to encourage our parents to change the way they are being before they start interacting with children and asking them to be confident, to be, empowered. I love this. And before I ask you this question, the next question, I wanted to ask you if there is a what's the difference between uh, positive parenting and gentle parenting?
Well, again, like I was saying before,
Is it the
whatever you call
same?
it, I think, yeah, I mean, gentle parenting to me has more of a connotation of quietness and of realizing that, children are very sensitive. And if we can stay in that realm of sensitivity, that we can be, do and be better and not getting so dysregulated. And I think that's why it's so important with the neurodivergent kids, a lot of the training and the help for parents is regulate yourself, because then you're going to regulate your kids. So, we breathe, we get ourselves regulated and calm, and that is already passed to our child before we even speak.
Hmm. I think the most used word during this summit, I hear regulate, regulate. So
Yeah.
it's it's so powerful to
Yeah.
be reminded of that. So how can parents address challenging behaviors using positive reinforcement?
Well, again, I mean, I think it's down to us. And so if a child comes at us with something very challenging, it's like, oh, I feel provoked and challenged right now. I would like to make them
Okay.
do it. But
Mm,
I'm not going to. I'm going to figure out a way to how can I give this child some more power right now so they feel like cooperating? How can I give them more choices so that they'll choose a direction to go rather than, butting heads with me? So all the ideas around dealing with power struggles, I think, is really helpful in this regard, because we need to be able to um, we need to have some kind of order and structure, or the chaos will make us
leave.
come unglued, so that we continue to bring this calm, peaceful, positive presence to the challenging behaviors. I think that's the biggest thing. And then the other thing that is what you're doing now is you're listening to a bunch of interviews, and every one you're going to pick up pieces of ideas of practical ways you can implement this. And I
Yeah,
think
I
that little
wish I would.
exercise we did earlier. Yeah.
Sorry, I wish I would know that 23 years ago. I have two young adults, children, um, but yeah, I am still learning. I have a
Mm.
12-year-old, and I'm learning, continuously learning, and then I possibly will carry that and teach my children to apply those methods on their children in the future. So
Yeah,
it's we're changing generational habits.
definitely.
So Debbie, I would love to ask you about genuine encounter moment, the beautiful tool which you have given it to me for my children, and it's really effective. It's working for me. So can you
Yay.
tell us more about genuine encounter moment, specifically how to do that and why it is important for all the parents to do it?
Yeah, a genuine encounter moment is direct, focused, 100% attention that you place on your child. So it's not distracted or busy. So if your child says, "Mom, mom, mom, come see this," instead of saying, "Not now, I'm busy, go away, leave me alone," which, leaves them feeling bad and left out and not important and not loved, all of those things. We're as parents, when we say just a minute, I'm busy, we're just busy. We don't mean to tell our kids that we don't love them, but they often misinterpret that. And so instead, when they say mom, 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 dad, 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 you don't have to do it every time, but at least once a day, stop what you're doing and say, show me, tell me, let me see, and just be 100% in your child's world. And the saddest thing is when I teach this topic to parents and they go home and they do this with a child and the child is shocked. Like, oh, you just paid attention to me. And they're not used to it. They're used to having to fight, fight, fight for your attention. And so when you just say, show me, tell me, I want to hear all about it, the first time it might shock them. But
It up. Yeah.
yeah, but then they light up and they know. And again, this speaks to, I think, what you were saying before, Philza, that parents are often afraid, well, if I give them the attention, they're going to want it all the time. The exact opposite is true. When they get intermittent, every once in a while, this love and attention and a genuine encounter moment, it doesn't have to be every single time, but just sprinkled in there, they're much more they feel much more loved and satisfied over time so that they don't have to misbehave so much. So it's very, very helpful for kids to make sure that you're at least once a day dropping what you're doing and just seeing the world 100% through their eyes. You'll find it'll curb a lot of the misbehavior you might be seeing.
Is it going to be effective with the neurodivergent kid as well?
Of course, of course. And we always have, I mean, every one of you parents knows your own child better than anybody else. And so you know what triggers are there and what you can and can get away with, not trying to get away with anything, but it's just like, some kids you can't touch them. And a lot of the parenting tools that I have, revolve around patting their back or stroking their hair. And so with a neurodivergent kid, you just want to make sure to ask. A lot of times I'll say, do that without saying anything. But with a neurodivergent kid, you're going to have to say, is it okay if I put my hand on your back? Or is it okay if I stroke your hair? Or can I hold your hand? Like you want to ask permission for those types of things with those kids so that they stay in regulation.
Debbie, as we are concluding this amazing interview, can you tell us a little bit about the free gift that you have for our audience?
Yes, it's the video of the power struggle workshop. So how to get out of power struggles, called No, I Won't, and You Can't Make Me, effectively dealing with power struggles. And there's handouts and all that kind of thing. So you'll get a link to that.
I don't know a single parent that doesn't need that.
Well, it has lots of good tools in it. How to get out of power struggles and how to prevent them from happening, and why kids love to power struggle too.
Wow, amazing. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome.
Any final tips for our parents tackling and having challenges with neurodivergence, divergent children?
Yeah, my big tip these days is get outside. Get your kids, get outside. I know it's cold. Like it was under 20 degrees today. It's been very hard to get outside today, but we've been doing it here and there. So it's um, the antidote to screens is nature, and most of nature is somewhere outside. So get your kids, get outside, hug a tree, walk through the woods, like do something. You will be benefiting your children and yourself. Mm.
Definitely. Once you get them out, it's difficult to get them back in. That
Which is great.
exactly. The struggle is to get them out,
Mhm.
even for 1 minute. I remember my youngest after COVID, he didn't want to go outside anywhere. So once his friend and him went to the park, it was like hours until he made it back home. Like I was I was checking in with him. Are you still at the park? Yes, I am still here. We're still playing. We have another game to play. So I was
Oh,
like in awe to see him finally make that reconnection with his friends, because it's difficult. It was difficult then
yeah.
for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been super fun. It's great to see you again, Filza.
Yes, thank you, Debbie, for being here with us. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for everything, for your tips, your wisdom, your generosity of your time. Thank you. Bye bye now.